which Venus flytrap catches the most bugs? Are the red ones better hunters, or do the green ones blend in and trick more prey? Well, we're testing these Venus flytraps against 5 different bugs, with each one getting bigger and harder to catch, so we can see the secret battles between plants and bugs. And the one that catches the most food will get hundreds of bugs poured in its trap to see how it reacts. But first, we've got bugs that are older than dinosaurs, isopods. These guys crawl and live between tiny gaps in wood and soil, so if one of them gets caught, they should easily squeeze their way free. But we won't see any of that if SLC, representing Team Green here, doesn't close on an isopod that comes his way. Yet, as the horde reaches Dragon, he catches this isopod by the leg, which forces it to walk sideways into this trap, where his friend then sabotages him and gets him caught. Now, as the 2-minute timer runs down, we'll find out if this guy really can squeeze his way out of the flytrap. However, for a decent amount of time, neither one of these flytraps are attracting any prey. The isopods follow each other like a herd of sheep, so they just walk in circles around the tub. That is until Dragon attracts a lone isopod into his dark red traps. Although he completely misses twice, and another isopod even comes back to tease him a 3rd time. Now, although he seems to be holding back that first isopod pretty well, he has used most of his traps, unlike SLC, who is taking it a bit slower to make sure he actually catches something. And it seems like that strategy might work. He has tied up the competition by half catching this isopod, and he's holding it back with his sharp teeth. Yet, the scales on these guys are surprisingly tough. It is how they keep themselves safe, so it could squeeze its way free, meaning SLC could lose the tie. Yet, by some miracle, SLC attracts 2 giant isopods his way and gets one of them to taste his nectar for just long enough to catch it. Right now, Team Green is in the lead unless this isopod escapes from SLC. But while we keep our eye on him, up next we have something bigger, tougher, and way stronger than isopods. Hundreds of beetles. Every time we see a beetle go up against a Venus flytrap, it is an extremely close battle. Not only do they have very tough shells, but they also have super strong legs and grippy feet, which helps them grab onto anything they can and pull themselves free. But that can only happen if the flytrap doesn't catch their feet. Now, flytraps don't usually catch beetles, but filling this arena with a whole mix of bugs gives us the chance to see all the different tactics both the plants and the bugs use to hunt or escape. Things we'd never see otherwise, like these beetles drinking water. Flytraps live in damp soil, but since these beetles haven't had their apple slices yet, they're thirsty, and they're actually drinking straight from the soil by licking it up. And this is kinda normal for them. They don't drink water like other animals do. So not only does filling the arena like this let us see how they all interact in one place, but it also keeps things fair since the environment is more controlled. And the reason we only have a 2-minute timer is to make up for just how many bugs are released in each test. Now, thanks to how the tests are set out, we might have just seen something that all red flytraps do. Ginormous here just missed his first catch, like Dragon did earlier with the isopods. And while we'll find out with the next bug if that is something all red flytraps do, King Henry has got these beetles clumping up below him for some reason. Old food often gets stuck in flytraps that act as bait for other bugs like wasps or spiders. But I don't think this is the reason why all the beetles are clumping up below him here. But whatever it is, these beetles really want to be there and will even sacrifice each other to get there. And guys, it isn't just King Henry who has got these beetles clumping. As each one moves around ginormous, they all kind of follow each other. My only guess is that they can smell the nectar on the fly traps, and they all try to get some at the exact same time. Yet, while these guys are distracting us over here, this same beetle that gets shoved out of the way leaves the nectar behind to be on his own. And he isn't the only beetle who seems to enjoy being alone. Damn, these guys take some crazy risks to get to those plants. Now, like I mentioned, beetles are strong enough to escape Venus flytraps, so we will keep our eye on Ginormous and King Henry to see if one escapes during the rest of this video. But as it stands, the beetle battle is a tie, so neither one of them gets a point, and the green flytraps are on track to get hundreds of bugs poured directly into their mouths. But before we see that, we have a bug that is so slippery and wiggly that it could easily escape from the Venus flytraps if it gets caught. Mealworms. Now, I have never seen how mealworms react around Venus flytraps, so we will both be learning something brand new here. But usually, mealworms eat grains like oats or cereal, so I wonder how they might react to the bright colors and nectar of the flytraps. If you've ever held a mealworm before, you'd know how wriggly and slippery they are, so it should be really easy for them to escape from the flytraps. All they'll need to do is wriggle like this, or even eat through the traps thanks to those crazy jaws they have. But so far, all they've really done is wiggle into the soil. This is kinda normal for them because they burrow into dark, humid places, but I'm not sure if the scent from the flytrap's nectar is going to be strong enough to lure them in. You see, mealworms use little hairs on their antennae called sensilla to search for food, which are usually things that are rotting because they're kinda easy to eat. But flytraps don't smell rotten, they smell sweet. But even though I say that, this guy is walking onto the flytrap okay, he's turned around. Well, seeing as neither one of the flytraps have caught anything, neither one of them gets a point. But it's now time to move on to our second most difficult bug to catch, a group of locusts. These guys are huge and have powerful legs that should help them easily jump out of a flytrap if it gets caught. But even though I say that, Dark Knight has caught this guy's foot. Now guys, even though these plants are the biggest flytraps I have right now, because the rest are going dormant, you need to know that size doesn't matter. Even the small ones can surprise you. As we know, the more this locust struggles to escape, the tighter Dark Knight will squeeze around its foot. And I just noticed again that the red flytrap is the first one to try and catch some food. Now I don't think Dark Knight will be able to hold on to this guy, but Black Pearl has got this locust pretty interested. We've seen locusts eat our plants before, so it is possible that this guy walks head first into this trap. But between their strong legs and those jaws, they can just eat their way free. So I don't think our plants have much of a chance. Regardless, they need to actually get the locusts interested in going into the traps. It's crazy how the same bug that destroys millions of crops in a day is barely interested in a succulent Venus flytrap. However, we only have one more bug to put up against our plants before we find our winner and feed them hundreds of bugs. And guys, I promise you, the battle we have up next is very interesting. It's a swarm of crickets. And we have way more than this for our winner later on. As the swarm crowds both flytraps, the crickets actually start climbing up Red Bull because his traps grow off the ground. And this is when they are met with the irresistible taste of his nectar. If you've ever tried to catch a cricket, you'd know that they are extremely fast and skittish, so it should be nearly impossible for flytraps to catch them. Even the smallest bit of movement from a plant will make them jump away instantly. Yet these guys are so excited to get some nectar that they could be too distracted to realize the very thing they are standing on will move around them. Like, look at this guy. He is swinging his antenna all over the place from excitement. But with a flytrap's super sensitive trigger hairs nearby, it's only a matter of time until he touches them and triggers the trap. Now, while Red Bull takes a slow and calm strategy to catch his crickets, Trevor rushes, just like all the other red fly traps we have seen today. In fact, Red Bull shows us again how the slow strategy is much more effective at catching crickets. I guess they don't seem to notice it happening, and just to prove how effective it really is, a few moments later, Trevor moves his traps slowly too, and he finally catches a cricket of his own. But if he wants to win this for Team Red, he needs to catch at least 2 more bugs before time runs out so that he can tie Team Red up on the leaderboard. Yet, with these crickets setting off his traps with those long antennae, I'm not sure how well he will do today. Despite that, this isopod walks in from out of nowhere and turns directly into his trap. Trevor has tied up this competition and now only needs 1 more bug to win it for Team Red. However, just like the isopod that walked into Trevor for no reason, this cricket walks into Red Bull for no real reason either. But with time nearly up, Trevor needs to catch at least 2 more bugs if he wants to win this event. So he takes a risk and tries to take on 2 crickets at once. But as a last-ditch effort, he tries to catch 1 more cricket with a half-closed trap. But in the end, it just doesn't work out for him, and he has now used up all of his traps. As we can see, if time were to continue going on, Red Bull probably would have caught more bugs, but that's why we only have a 2-minute time limit. Guys, Trevor pulled off one of the biggest moments today by tying up this event. However, it isn't enough as the green traps have held on to their 1-point lead since the start of the video. And seeing as they are today's winners, let's reward them by dumping hundreds of bugs all over the biggest green fly trap we have and fill up one of its mouths to see how it reacts. As the crickets start clearing up from the center of the plant, we start to see how the flytrap squeezes over the chunk of bugs in its traps. I might have mentioned it before, but as bugs move while being caught in their traps, they touch those trigger hairs more and more, and in turn, the flytrap squeezes tighter and tighter to seal itself up, and eventually secretes digestive acids, which is how they then absorb whatever it caught. And as you can see, this trap is doing a really good job of holding those bugs back. This is honestly insane. I have never seen them do this before. But instead of letting all the bugs run around on top of a plant, what if we pour all of these bugs directly into just one of the biggest traps we have right now? I hope you guys just saw that. But the flytrap actually manages to snap its mouth closed over all of these bugs. But will he be able to hold them all back, or will they all just squeeze their way out? I don't know, and I personally have never seen anything like this. And I think it might be the first time anyone has filmed a flytrap like this. But as the time lapse goes on, it actually does seem like the flytrap will be able to hold back hundreds of bugs without an issue, which is honestly terrifying. I can't believe how so few of them are able to escape while the flytrap seals around them. Now guys, it is unrealistic, but I wanted to hit 100,000 subscribers this year. So if you enjoyed the video, please would you consider subscribing, liking the video, and share this video with someone who would enjoy it. It really does help the channel out, and it means I can make more videos for you. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.